Good day and welcome back. In this video I want to talk about something that has unnecessarily become quite a complicated issue in the gardening world. And that is how to select your seeds for your particular garden and your needs. There's two things you need to know. One is your planting area heat regime, and the other is what you intend to do with said seeds. Anything else on a small gardening scale you can have pretty much complete control over. So you get your catalog and you're browsing through it. One of the things that often comes up, you'll see, is the disclaimer non-GMO. That disclaimer is basically for the purchaser's peace of mind, because to get GMO seeds you have to set up a contract between you, the end user, and the producer of the GMO seeds. So the contract would have to go directly between, say, Monsanto and you. Often I order from Vessey's. They can't get GMO seeds from Monsanto and resell them to me. The first thing you need to know, and the thing that most gardeners can do very little about, is the heat regime for your gardening area. You need to know your last and first frost, as well as the normal temperatures for each day of your growing season. I have a video on that called What Grows Your Annuals, and you can check that out here or at the end of the video. If you're selecting seeds for perennials, you'll also need to know your plant hardiness zone. Those zones are based on your minimum winter temperatures that are expected in your area, because your plants, of course, then have to survive your winter. Depending on what you want to get from those plants, your growing season temperatures may also affect what seeds you buy. Once again, you can check out my video, What Grows Your Perennials, here or at the end of the video. I don't know which question should come first. Is it the temperatures or the type of seed? The next question is a combination question. Are you planning to save your own seed? And does it matter if the seed produces exactly like the parent? So the options you're left with is genetically diverse, heirloom and heritage, two words that's often used interchangeably, and hybrid. Another word that's often used to indicate a variety that reproduces true to seed is open pollinated. From the Collins Dictionary, open pollination is the pollination of open flowers by insects, the wind, etc., without human action. Now here I have an heirloom chocolate pepper. To pollinate the flowers from a chocolate pepper inside, take a little paintbrush and we just touch in on the pistils here and the stamen, just tickle the inside of the flower like that, and we go flower to flower. Basically doing the same as what a bug would do outside. Now I've open pollinated these. I've pollinated these, but it's not open pollinated. It's artificial pollination. the seeds that will be produced in the resulting peppers are still heirloom seeds, but not open pollinated. Come summer, I am going to put these outside and let the bees, the wind, whatever, pollinate them like nature does. Then the seeds I get will not only be heirloom seeds, but they will be open pollinated. When it comes to just open pollinated seeds, all seeds of wild plants or those of fruit orchards, they are open pollinated. But to sell seeds as a variety, you need to be able to guarantee certain characteristics, features of the resulting plants. And so, to sell open pollinated seeds, they must come from genetically stable plants that will reproduce what they call true to seed. Hence the misnomer. When someone say it's an open pollinated variety, it is implied that they will reproduce true to seed. This was an attempt to separate the newer varieties from the old heirlooms and heritage seeds. I think if we want to separate the newer varieties, a better terminology in my mind would be stabilized variety or genetically stable variety. A genetically diverse seed such as those from most fruit trees and wild plants, it'll give you the same type of plant, but not necessarily like the parent plant. Apples being a prime example that's usually given. When you plant an apple seed, you really don't know what you're going to get. You'll still get an apple, but what kind of apple? So if you want a seed that you want to play around with, that just plant it and see what you get, and maybe develop your own variety, a genetically diverse seed bank might be the right choice. Heirloom plants are produced by developing plants for a select few features. Seeds from those plants are saved for resowing and all others discarded. Over several generations, this produces a seed stock that will produce those features with every plant and every successive generation. These varieties are passed down for many years. Some say at least 50 years, but the number of years has not been decided on by the gardening community. However, they have been around plenty long enough to prove their ability to reproduce the same features with every generation. This is what they call reproducing true to seed. If your desire is to save seeds that will produce features from an already existing variety, then heirloom seeds would be your choice. Heritage plants are from farmers in a local area saving the seeds from their best performing crops. This over time weeds out all but the very best genetics for that local climate. They are not perfectly uniform in any one feature, but the low genetic diversity gets them confused with heirlooms. If your main concern is production, then finding heritage seeds that have been developed in climates similar to your own is your best bet. Unfortunately, because of the aforementioned confusion, seed suppliers seem to use the term that is most popular in the area. So here in North America, they'll just call them all heirlooms, and I understand in Europe they call them all heritage. However, heritage varieties are usually named after a place. So like French breakfast radish from France, Carolina allspice from the Carolinas, and Scotia tomato from Nova Scotia. Now, hybrid plants, they get a bad name unnecessarily, really. They're not necessarily inferior in either nutrition, taste, or any other feature of heirlooms and heritage. So if your only concern is the final fruit or nut that you're going to eat, then hybrid would be on the list of options that you can choose from. As we said, heirlooms are genetically uniform for selected characteristics. They are our plant version of the animal purebreds. If you were to mate purebred dogs, say a Labrador Retriever and a German Shepherd, then you can pretty much guess what the resulting offspring will look like before they're born. Likewise, plant breeders, they can take two different heirlooms and cross them, and they can guarantee the features of the resulting hybrid. To do that, of course, they have to manually take the pollen from one plant, transfer it to the other. So you can't have open pollinated hybrids. If you want to save seeds, hybrids will give you a narrower diversity than the wild and genetically diverse seeds. But you still don't know what the recombination of the original parents will be, so you don't know the exact features of that you're going to get from saving those seeds. The pepper that I'm calling the pepper of unknown variety, it's a hot pepper. It's from the seed of an Apache pepper, which is an hybrid pepper. I grew 4 plants. 3 of them looked like the Apache pepper plant, and this one was different. It is the only one that survived during our last year's abnormal cold snap. But it's still a hot pepper. If you were to take seed from a hybrid, say, sweet bell pepper, then you'd get a pepper plant. You'd get a sweet bell pepper plant. But the chances that its features will be exactly like the pepper that it came from is very slim. Those little pepper plants I have now, that the biggest one I think is about this tall, they are from seeds saved from the unknown variety pepper. And we'll see now what they are like when they grow up. I would expect them to be different again than the one that the seeds came from. Now back to the open pollinated ideal. Remember, heirlooms are developed by selecting for just a few features. That leaves all the rest of the features open to a wide diversity of genetics. Let's say I were to produce seeds to sell from my chocolate peppers. Well, if I have to produce them by manually pollinating every flower, chances are I get 6, maybe 10 plants up in my sunroom. And this is going to result in a very narrow set of genetics for my seed stock. However, somebody who's producing chocolate pepper seeds in an area where peppers thrive, they can put them out in the field and they could have 100, 200, 300 plants and have them open pollinated. The genetics from all of those 300 plants will be mixed. This results in a seed stock that will thrive in a much wider set of conditions. So obtaining open pollinated seeds will make it much easier for you to develop your own seed stock that's adapted to your particular climate much easier. And of course, someone like myself who's away from any of the major agriculture areas, the chances that I can get seed that is developed in my climate is very slim. So obtaining open pollinated seed would be my best bet. I don't know what the percentage is, but as far as I know, most heirloom and heritage seeds are open pollinated. I can produce heirloom pepper and tomato seeds, but it would most likely be artificial pollinated. Now carrots, I can do that open pollinated. There's other conditions that you might want to consider, and we'll talk about them over time through different videos. But most of them the backyard gardener can easily modify or mitigate, so they're not really an issue when selecting seeds. It is just your heat regime and the seed type that you have very little control over. So I hope that cleared up that issue, and I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.